Hi everybody, I am Camille Whitworth, and today we are talking about this issue that has been in the news. It's been in headlines for quite a while, and we suspect it will continue to do so. We're talking short-term rentals, and today we sit down and have a very important conversation with short-term rental business owner Penelope Randolph. So let's talk about short-term rentals. Let's talk about the first time that you were even made aware of short-term rentals.
Well, I guess it started when I was a kid. You know, I'm a child who was born in the 40s, and if the Civil Rights Act of 1964 said, "Oh, now there's a law for public accommodations where people of my color can go everywhere." Prior to that, we weren't allowed in hotels. So when we traveled visiting and staying with friends, family, friends of family. Anybody who had a space or a place that we could stay while we were in that particular city. So that's how I got introduced.
So it really has shaped, that experience has shaped where you are today as a business owner.
Of course, yes.
Okay, so let's talk about the short-term rentals, what's happening here in our area, specifically in New Orleans. And so where do you stand on where Airbnb and VRBO and the others affect our community?
These are platforms. These are platforms that give us some way to connect us, who is the owner of the property, to those persons who are coming to visit the city of New Orleans. I bought property as I developed my business, and my business was many businesses through the years, over the last 60 years, for the purpose of having property when I retired, and that I could use that as my retirement income. I had long-term clients for many years. But at some point, long-term clients, as I no longer had supplemental income, was inadequate to truly finance my retirement. So I went and looked at short-term rental. Short-term rental has allowed me to allow other families who want to visit the city to be able to afford to do so. I have generational visits, which means I have the grandmother, I have the mother, I have the children, I have babies. I now have pack and plays at my properties. I have bathtub chairs because generations of families visit with me. So my purpose is that I'm providing an opportunity for people to come to the city of New Orleans and enjoy themselves and not be priced out of their visit.
Well, there are some who say that this is a detriment to affordable housing. Your thought on that?
Why am I responsible to provide affordable housing that the city of New Orleans decided to destroy? I didn't tear down the housing developments. I didn't make restrictions on certain high-rises that no longer require that you have affordable housing. The city did that, not me. So now the city is saying to me, Penelope Randolph, as an owner of several short-term rental properties, you are now responsible to assume the responsibility that I, as a government, quit doing. Well, I don't see how that's fair. I don't see how you could do something like that. Why would you want to penalize me for something you decided that you were not going to hold yourself accountable and responsible for? So what I think about affordable housing, it's not just affordable housing. It has to do with living wage. It has to do with the fact that people are underpaid in this state and in this city, where they can't decide to live just anywhere. They can only live what they can afford. So now what the city is saying to me, then you reduce the cost of your property that you're using for the purpose of your retirement, so you can act as the government and give them somewhere to afford. Why don't you tell the tourist industry, pay those people a living wage? Pay them above $10 an hour, because I pay my housekeeper $24. Ask how many of them are paying their housekeeping staff $24.
So you're saying this is an issue that goes deeper than meets the eye.
Far deeper, far deeper. I would ask the city council too, how many of them have affordable housing? And how many of those are providing housing to persons who no longer have a place to live because of the destruction of the housing developments?
You know, one thing about short-term rentals is we're watching it go through layers and layers of sort of changes and tweaks and things of that nature. With the new administration coming in, new council members coming in, new mayor coming in, and the like, What are you envisioning with this, or what now will your fight be?
Well, I think that we have a mayor coming in that understands the issue. I've had an opportunity to have conversations with her to know that she understands the issue. I think we have a council coming in that some of them believe they won their council seat based on their opposition of short-term rental. And so they're waving a flag that they understand nothing about. I think that what I want to do is I want to educate them. And I'm forming a coalition right now. I said, it's 7 of us, and we haven't come up with a name, but I think a good name for us would be the Silver Stilettos, because we're all women who have all been in business, who are using this. We're African American women. We're using our properties as an opportunity to supplement in our retirement income. We're going to go talk to the council. We are going maybe making appointments to educate them the whole process about short-term rental. When the first legalization came out, there were some significant flaws. The number one flaw is it created quarters which they call commercial and temporary and adjacent. Mm-hmm. Commercial said, you, big business, come in and buy buildings in commercial quarters, and you can go have 100, 200, 300 units, and we give you no restrictions. You, who am I, who have individual properties in which you want to do short-term rentals, we're going to restrict you. You can't do but 90 days. And we're going to penalize you because you're not a corporation, you're not a big business, you're a middle-income retired person or middle-income person, and we're going to say you can't do that. And then you over here who have an adjacent, we're going to restrict you, saying, okay, there's a certain way that property has to be attached to the property you're living in. It's ridiculous. Why would I put in, first of all, why would you want to have people who are not part of the community make all the money, and the people who are part of the community be prohibited from making a living wage? 90 days, I can't do 90 days. That's just like a hotel. You tell them the hotel, you can invest the money into this hotel, you can put all the money you want into it, but you can only rent the room for 90 days.
So how many days would you like?
180 at a minimum.
Minimum.
180 at a minimum. You shouldn't limit me to anything, because what you have to do is make sure that I'm a good steward. Don't say the way I'm going to control you is, it's just like you treated me as a child. I'm going to control you but not giving you what it is that you need, as opposed to saying, I'm going to allow you to exercise your right, and I'm going to look at whether or not you use good judgment.
Right. Which comes to the point of abuse. What, obviously, do you feel there are people that are abusing the short-term rental system?
The biggest abuse, and I see it in as I drive around looking at it, is those absent owners. Those people who are not part of the community, don't live here. They don't know what those guests are doing in their homes. And the people who don't have regulations. You know, my regulation says that I don't rent my property to anyone under the age of 25. I don't allow for bachelor parties and fraternity parties. I don't allow that because I'm in a neighborhood. But there are many persons who do that. And why? Because it's not their neighborhood. They don't live there. They don't live in the city. So to them, it's a business. The more money they can get, the better off they feel they are.
And so you're saying maybe the rules need to be tightened up?
The rules need to be changed.
Yeah, okay.
What they need to do is they need to limit the number of commercial businesses that can exist.
Okay.
They need to require that you live in the city, that you have a valid driver's license showing that you are a New Orleans resident. Because you can't get a driver's license in Louisiana, Texas, Alabama, Mississippi. You can't get a license in those places because it's going to negate the license of the other place. Show those people who are purchasing these other corporations, we want to know who owns it. Who is the individual that owns it? Let me see their driver's license and ascertain that way whether or not this is a corporation or an individual who's operating short-term rentals.
Okay, so are you angry? Frustrated?
I'm frustrated because I see people lying. They're going out and saying that we take away affordable housing. That's a lie. Just call it what it is. They're saying that they want their neighborhood back. Well, the biggest mouth that I hear about who wants the neighborhood back is those people who are also being paid by the hotels as consultants, or those people who are not from New Orleans, who also came in from other communities that came to live in New Orleans, and now they decided that that neighborhood that I lived in, was raised in, and invested all my money in over the last 40 years now becomes their neighborhood? Well, how's that? You can't just move to a neighborhood and claim it. You have to share it. So I'm willing to share with you, or homeowner. I'm a homeowner. I'm letting my homes be allowed for people to come and visit as guests. And I'm going to make sure that they behave themselves. And I'm going to make sure that the houses are beautified. And I'm going to make sure that aesthetically, when you look at and come through my neighborhood, you're going to smile. You're going to be pleased.
Well, but not everybody's like you.
Well, I would say that those of us that are local owners, I would venture to say that 99.9% of them are just like me. So when you're talking about bad actors, you're talking about other folks, not us.
Out of town owners.
Out of town owners.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, where do we go from here? This is a big issue. It's been ongoing. I suspect it will continue to be ongoing.
I think the first thing we have to do is be honest. And we have to stop blaming the citizens of New Orleans for the problems of the community. The problems of the community were created by government. You took away the affordable housing. You want to find a way to get affordable housing? Find a way to do it. Government, you do everything else. The other thing is that allow us, who are citizens of this community, who have spent our whole lives here developing this community, who are here and rebuilt our properties after Katrina. Give us a break. Let us operate where we can have properties that make money, that we can have comfortable retirements. I want 180 days at a minimum. I'm asking for that. Do that.
Do you have faith that this will turn out in the favor that you would like?
What I'm going to do is be hopeful that the current council stop playing politics, and that what they do is they look at what is the best thing for this community. Not whether they can get reelected 4 years from now. Not what's going to make headlines for them. What is the best thing for this community? And no council member lives in every neighborhood of the district of which they have been elected to. You can't let neighborhood associations that have 4 or 5 people at most, and I know in the area that I'm in from, control what happens in that neighborhood. You need to talk to all of us. And you need to not treat us as a threat so that we're afraid and we hide. Because if you come out and you say that you're going to shut it down and you're against it, and you haven't even looked at it or discussed it with me, what do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to hide. Well, I can say this to you. Penelope Randolph isn't hiding anymore. I'm done with hiding. I'm going to start talking about it. I'm going to start pushing for it. And I'm forming coalitions of us who are New Orleanians who vote to keep short-term rental alive and well, and keep it so that it is something that is good for this community. There was a study that was just done by UNO that projected that we now have 10.9 million visitors that came to the city.
That's right.
Something like $8 billion. An increase from 2016 to 2017. Where do you think that increase came from? It came from us. From short-term rental owners and short-term rental visitors. Because they couldn't visit in hotels. It came from us. And those people doing the studies, and especially UNO, I know that Romick has the information. They're afraid too. They're afraid because government says, don't let out that secret because we're saying something else. So all I'm saying is, everybody, let's tell the truth. Let's put it on the table. Let's have open conversations. We don't need to scream and holler at each other. We just need to be reasonable.
So there's that word, transparency,
Transparent.
with short-term rentals.
Yes.
Well, Ms. Randolph, we certainly thank you for sharing your opinion with us and your insight on what's happening with short-term rentals. We have a long way to go on this.
Oh, we do.
So keep us posted.
Don't worry. I plan to talk every time I can.
All right,
Okay.
thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you, everyone, for watching.